Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Starch Queens. Welcome to Talking Tuesday. I'm Jean Schumacher. I'm the Queen of Diamonds, and my partner is Nancy Matthews, who is the Starch Queen of Hearts. And together we're the Starch Queens.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, and our online weight loss and lifestyle program provides coaching, recipes, education. It's going to help everyone find weight loss and success and healing. So tonight, our topic is going to focus around protein because, oh yeah, I don't know about you, but how many times have you heard, oh my God, I'm going to die. I don't have any protein. What do I do? Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
it
okay.
happens, doesn't it, Jean? I mean, how long we've been at this? Over 6 years. But the reason it's always coming back as a topic is because the really great synergy is that more and more people are learning about plant-based nutrition. Therefore, us old timers that have been at this for over 5 to 6 years, we have to talk about this more and more because it's still an ongoing issue with people that are new and don't understand where they get their protein. So Jean's going to have a great topic today on clean versus animal versus plant.
Because a lot, and as a matter of fact, I just had this conversation with some neighbors down the road about animal protein versus plant protein. And so if you look at plant protein is going to have more nutrients, it's going to have more fiber, and pound for pound, it's going to pack more nutrients into fewer calories.
Exactly.
And plant-based protein has one major thing going for it that animal-based protein does not have, and that is fiber. Fiber is huge. It aids in digestion. It promotes healthy gut biome. And I think we're starting to really learn about the healthy gut biome and about this. And I think there's a lot of research that's coming out, about the gut biome. And it's so much more important than we ever knew. So anyway, but it's also strongly associated, the plant-based proteins is strongly associated with lower cardiovascular disease risk. So the other thing about meat protein is you're going to have more saturated fats. This is why your burgers, your steaks, they taste, good to you because they have this mouthfeel of the fats. And that's what makes them have this appeal to us, this mouthfeel. But these are saturated fats. So like if you're cooking bacon and you let the pan cool, and all the grease that's in it eventually is going to turn kind of like a waxy, soft paste. And that is a saturated fat. These are going to be solids at room temperature. Sorry, the chemistry teacher comes out in me. I can't help it. So the ones that aren't saturated are going to be a liquid at room temperature. So, it's the animal products, the protein there, that's what's going to contain these saturated fats. And they've also shown that people who eat plant proteins in part have a healthier habit. They have a healthier lifestyle. They've done meta-analysis that compared people who eat animal versus plant proteins. And they consistently find that even adjusting for other influential factors, like, for example, socioeconomic class, weight, exercise habits, those who eat plant-based tend to live longer and healthier lives. And they just did such an analysis in the Journal of American Medical Association, and they noted that substitution of plant protein for animal protein, especially from processed red meats, is going to confer a substantial health benefit, and it's advised that policies promote these plant-based proteins. So, yeah,
Very interesting.
big difference between, plant-based proteins and animal-based proteins. So.
Well, for me, I always think about for my journey started with two. It was basically my why was to number one, I was absolutely adamant I would not be put on statins. I had a cholesterol of 268. And so my doctor was like, he knew I was getting to that point where I needed to put Nancy on statins, and Nancy was going, no, Nancy's not going on statins. So for me, I had to really look at saturated fat, and pretty much all meat, all animal products have saturated fat, But coconut is really the big saturated fat in plant-based, or excuse me, in plants. So I pretty much still stay away from coconuts, all coconut product as a rule, just because I have the type of body that loves to hang on to cholesterol. So I was able to successfully drop my cholesterol from 268 to, I believe the last time I checked was in like 148, and the total ratio went down to 3.75 or 4. It was below 5. And you can do that by eating plants. And so I don't have any of the side effects of having to take statins, which is fantastic. So plant protein for the win, right, Jean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're now starting to come out with these imitation meats that I think there's two of them. One's called Beyond Burger, and the other one is Impossible Burgers. And yes, they're plant-based. Thumbs up on that. I mean, excellent. We like that they're plant-based, because, and then, and they look, I mean, they're pretty realistic in how they look and feel and have the same mouth feel. But I guess we would consider these to be more as a transition food and not what we would consider whole food plant-based. And the big issue here with these burgers is that they contain a lot of oil and they contain a lot of salt.
Right.
So in addition to some other things like the soy protein isolate, which is not a good choice. So, some of the ingredients are not really good, in that respect. So we want to be careful. I mean, these are good transition foods, and wow, they do look just like, and, I haven't eaten any, but I hear from friends who have used it that they're pretty close. Hello,
every time.
every time.
Every time.
Somebody's calling you to say, "Hey, have you started the show yet?
Right?
Are we on yet? Or was it live? I don't see you. Where is it?"
My kids seem to forget what I'm doing.
Oh, is one of your kids?
Oh yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, but so those burgers, good transition food. It's a good transition food to help you if you just feel like you've just got to have a burger, or if you're having, like, for example, the getting together for, like, we just had July 4th, which is a huge family get together, and, burgers and, potato salad, macaroni salad. Those are the typical July 4th picnic foods. So this would be a good alternative, to that. But I think we can do better. Nancy, how can we do better?
Well, we have two. We're gonna post here at the end of our broadcast. We're gonna print. I will keep wanting to say print. We're gonna post 2 different recipes that are tried, true, and tested alternatives to a ground beef patty. One is Mary McDougall's. It's called My Boyfriend's Burger, and it's one that is used, was at a restaurant in Santa Rosa. And Mary McDougall and a friend were able to modify the recipe. The quantity was to make 70 burgers, so they narrowed it down to maybe making 12. It's an absolutely phenomenally good, delicious burger. And the other one is Jeff Novick's bean burger that Chuck Underwood, the brand new vegan, kind of modified it. We're going to post both of those in the comment. They are easy to make. They're really, really inexpensive to make. You can form them into patties, and then you can freeze them individually really well, and then just use them for social gatherings, daily consumption. They're just absolutely delicious. But Jean, for one thing, I want to talk and share my viewpoint on the 2 new products that are out. I want to say absolutely kudos to the big food industry recognizing the grassroots movement in Meatless Monday, wanting to provide options to people who want to not have a burger at a restaurant. That's huge. It's such a big step forward when you look at the big grand scheme of things with the USDA, and you look at the really big picture on a business basis. This is really a big thing. Now we have to take that and narrow it down to where we are in our health journeys. we look at this as a big win. It's a great vegan option, but then we look at it as a nutritional basis. And the Beyond Burger has 3 different types of oil in it. And we've learned through Dr. Esselstyn how oil damages the endothelial layer of our cells. So we want to consider that when we look at trying a Beyond Burger. Great. I would have it in a heartbeat versus a beef patty. But would I want to have that 2 or 3 times a week? No, because it's going to add additional calories if I'm wanting to lose weight. So if you're somebody who's wanting to lose weight, you need to rethink having this Incredible Burger or Beyond Burger on a regular basis. And then you want to kick up the health, your nutritional health to the next level. You've got to look at the oil and how you want to continue to remove oil out of your diet to heal your vessels, heal your vascular system. So still, it's a double thumbs up. It's a huge step forward in the food industry for options for all of us who don't eat meat.
Well, we've got a couple of people that are out there. Wanda, glad to see you out there. Hey.
Hi, Wanda.
And, the meat substitute, she says, glad to hear you talk about the meat substitutes that could really give folks a distorted view of what they're really doing to their health. So we definitely do want to talk about these kind of things because they're good for transitions or, as Nancy pointed out, they're huge win for the vegan industry. And I'm just so excited about that there are these options that are out there. And for people that want to transition and get into a plant-based lifestyle. So yeah, it's great that these are out there, but I think we can do better. And we're going to post those recipes. I just have a quick question. If Mary came up with this, what would she call it? My boyfriend's
right?
My boyfriend's best burger. Wait a minute. Where was John in this picture? I just want to know that.
So this is from a 2016 John McDougall newsletter or 2006. It's one or the other. And how it worked out was Dr. McDougall and Mary were talking to somebody, and somebody said, oh, my boyfriend used to work at this restaurant where this burger was made. And so it was labeled My Boyfriend's Burger because the woman said, oh, my boyfriend worked there. So that's how it was labeled, My Boyfriend's Burger Recipe.
All right. Yeah.
I just love that.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because wait, is there something we don't know about?
What's going on, Mary?
Yeah. What's going on, Mary? Anyway, just had to poke a little fun there. Anyway. So what else?
Well, what's on our agenda list there?
That was it. We had a pretty short agenda list this week. We did.
Well, let's just talk real quick about you. You're not in the same background. Jean's traveling. Where are you at?
I am up on the Cape. I am getting ready. Actually, if you're up on Cape Cod, I'm going to be presenting tomorrow at the Snow Library in Orleans. So I'll be there next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that. So,
well, Jean, why don't you take the time to tell us about your plant-based Cape Cod destination? Tell us about your vision, and everybody that's watching, what is up next in our plant-based in the plant-based town scheme of things, on what we're planning on plant-based destinations.
Well, my husband and I are purchasing a home up here. This is going to be our second home for right now, and we're going to rent it out until we are ready to move up here. And when we do move up here, we're planning 2 years, so the fall of 2020, we're going to have rooms to rent out and create a plant-based destination vacation. So I can't say enough about Cape Cod. I have grown up here, and I'm starting now to connect locally with people around. There's some amazing restaurants around here that will and can connect and do make whole food plant-based. So I'm kind of excited, and I'm connecting with these people and getting it to the point where, I can start posting things about it. There is Plant-Based Cape Cod. I started that already in terms of Facebook groups. So if anybody likes to go to Cape Cod, do connect with us and join. Coming soon will be a website, plantbasedcapecod.com. So that'll be exciting. And so I'm really looking forward to living the dream of being plant-based, because it has been a huge journey for me. And I'm up here, I'm talking to some of my neighbors up here, and as a matter of fact, just before the show, I was over there talking with them, and she's already, it was a couple, and they have 2 kids, and they've got a huge garden in their backyard, absolutely beautiful, and they've got it all nice and fenced in, because there are deer up here that like to eat, and bunnies, and all kinds of wonderful things that like to share
Wildlife,
plant-based. Yeah.
wildlife.
So they've got a beautiful, beautiful garden, raised beds in their backyard, because it is sand up here, not the best material to grow things in. But I'm so excited, because as I've come up and have been watching, throughout on Cape Cod, I'm seeing a lot more farms that are starting to go organic. And I'm so excited about that there's a lot of choices and options here on Cape Cod that are organic. So I'm really starting to get excited about this. So it's really happening. It's amazing. I'm so excited. So.
Well, that's wonderful. And that's one of the things that Nick and I are working on too, is for Plant-Based Chico, as part of Plant-Based Destination, is we're looking at houses to buy. And ideally, the perfect property will have a little casita in the back, like a little 1-bedroom house. So we could use it for our Plant-Based Destination Chico. Envision Airbnb, but plant-based. So you can come to whoever is in our network of plant-based towns and has a room, a casita, an apartment, someplace that people can go that are plant-based and don't have to worry about, is it vegan, is it not, and they can stay there. Whether they're going to have chemical-free, toxic-free, products in their little casita or bathroom to use. And then, the whole thing hasn't been talked out completely yet, if it's going to be like a bed and B&B, but I think Jean was talking about doing some cooking. So
Right.
These are kind of the things that are rattling around in the back of our minds, that we could get enough people in the network that have extra room. We start building a website and sharing this whole network through a whole vegan, plant-based map of places that people can travel to and can stay in a plant-based Airbnb version of that. So it's kind of exciting. So that we're working on that. And Jean's the first to dive off and buy the property. So I'm really excited.
I am too.
A year ago this week, Nick and I were in Cape Cod, and I can attest for what Jean said. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful. I can't wait to go back. So
what are you reading now, Nancy? What are you up to?
I am reading the book that Rabbi Beth, let me tell you real quick, Rabbi Beth, The Power of Moments. It's on my Kindle. I don't know if you can see that right now.
Uh-huh.
I started it. It's absolutely fascinating. I wrapped up the book Thin from Within. Absolutely loved it. Really good books. That's what I'm reading right now, listening to on my Audible, and that's what I'm doing. And I know you're doing another Dr. Barnard book. Which one are you doing?
It's called Breaking, and I know it's backwards, I think. It is to me anyway. I don't know if it is to anybody else, but it's called Breaking the Food Seduction. I'm finishing up the last of the Power Food for the Brain series. And actually this week I'm doing the last show with Dr. Barnard. And then we're starting the Breaking the Food Seduction. So I'm really excited about that, because I am just tearing this apart and breaking it up. And I can't wait, because it's huge. It's right up there. There was the, I don't know if anybody's heard, they did the Pleasure Trap. Chef AJ recorded it in audiobook. And so now you can get the Pleasure Trap. So Breaking the Food Seduction and the Pleasure Trap came out about the same time. And I think this is a lesser known book. And I think this is just absolutely powerful. At least it was to me. I had not heard of it until I started looking at all the books that Dr. Barnard has written. Oh my God, the man, I don't think he sleeps. I really don't think he sleeps.
I think he's truly a plant-powered superhuman. He's a superhero.
Right. Well, and the other one that I'm absolutely, I'm working on, and I don't have the cover for this, but it's called Fast Food Genocide.
I love that book. I love that book.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, I recommend that book to everybody.
I know.
It scares the bejeebers out of you.
I know. I mean, and I needed to, corral him because he was presenting. If you are not familiar with the National Health Association, I strongly recommend the website is Health Science, I believe, Health Science.
National Health Association?
Yeah, but it's National Health Association. I'm pretty sure it's healthscience.org is the
Oh,
website. I'll post it below.
I'm not sure.
And I went to their conference in June, at the end of June, beginning of July. Oh my God, it was powerful. And Joel Furman was one of the presenters. And this association, if you don't know about this association, I strongly recommend join their membership. It's only $35. Both Nancy and I are members of it. It's $35. You get a subscription as well. It's a beautiful magazine from their subscription, and there is absolutely no commercials, nothing, no advertisements, nothing in this magazine. It's 100% living plant-based. And actually, Nancy and I were kind of excited because we're going to be having a column coming up in the fall magazine. So we're kind of excited about that. And you'll hear about some plant-based living tips from that. So the conference, they're going to have it again next year, and it's going to sell out. So they're going to be opening up conference registration August 1st and closing it December 31st. And that's for the early bird registration, and you'll get a discount through that. So if you're interested and want to go, I can't say enough about this conference. And it's being there and being part of all of these people, just going up and talking to Joel Furman or going up and talking to Dr. Pam Popper. I mean, it was just awesome. And they're sitting there having dinner with you, breakfast, lunch. I mean, it's incredible. Just and the stories. And if you want to see the presentations, they're on the Starch Queens website, but also they're going to be released on the National Health Association, the Facebook page. Do like that. Give it a thumbs up. Follow it. It's an amazing, amazing resource. So anyway, but I got to listen. He did a little bit of presentation, Joel Furman, on the fast food genocide, and you're just like in shock of what we're doing to ourselves. It's awful. It's just absolutely awful.
Yep, it is. Again, if I had a time machine and could go back and undo the damage that I did to my body with fast food, I mean, literally, fast food was such a huge part of how I gained 140 pounds of excess weight. It was Taco Bell, Burger King. It was Burger King for lunch. And knowing now, I mean, I would be able to go back in time and do it all over. It would be great. So, but like, again, we have such a great momentum going in the plant-based community and people wanting to start this lifestyle. And they're still talking about, like we talked about with protein. So books like this, like Dr. Furman are writing, I'm just recommending to everybody that I talk to, because between Proteinaholic with Dr. Garth Davis, if you ever question if you're getting enough protein, read the book by Dr. Garth Davis called Proteinaholic. If you ever question why you're on this plant-based journey, read Fast Food Genocide. Those two books right there are going to, and then the other one is Dr. Barnard's The Cheese Trap. Oh. If you read those three books, you will never eat meat or dairy again, and you will never question your decision to go plant-based, and you'll never again worry about if I'm getting 47 grams of protein or 52 grams of protein or 38 grams of protein. You're not going, it's not even going to be in your mind, because you're going to know and feel comfortable that you're eating a broad swath of plant-based foods, and so you're getting enough protein. And I will do that just because with the people that Jean and I coach in our Starch Queens program, protein still comes up. And so I'll do an example, and I'll put all my food that I eat on a regular basis for 2 or 3 days, because I'll do lots of greens and oats, and I'll do beans, and I'll do sweet potatoes. And the bottom line, being an accountant, I'll average those 3 or 4 days, however I'm filling up to remembering to journal. The average is always like 48 grams. And for a 55-year-old woman, that's sufficient. So it becomes a non-issue. So those are three books that if you're gonna, and then of course I always recommend Dr. McDougall's The Starch Solution. That's such a great gateway book to get you over this. It's a great educational book again, but that book is how old now, Jean?
I know, it's like 24, 25 years old.
Well, I don't think it's that old. That was the maximum weight loss was
Oh, I'm
24,
sorry.
20.
Yeah.
The Starch Solution isn't that old, but it's
No.
still at
Yeah.
least 12 years old, I would think. So there's been new research since then, but it's still always a great book to have in your library.
Well, Tori makes a comment. She says, cook your own food and exercise. Don't be lazy. Fair point. I mean, and a lot of us have gotten away from cooking our own foods. But she talks about 2 points of what we call the trifecta, because you have to change what goes in. That's the food and drink. You have to change what goes on. That's the personal care products that you're using or cleaning products. And I don't know if I've shared this story or not with you about my brother, that he almost died from cleaning products. And if you take my chemistry, because I'm a chemistry teacher, if you take my class, there is one thing that you will know before you leave my chemistry classroom, is to never mix chemicals together that you don't know what the end result is going to be. And my brother did that. He was having company over, and they had a guest bathroom. And it was one of those shower stalls, with the tile on the inside. And he started using one of those spray foaming bath cleaners with bleach. And it wasn't cleaning fast enough, whatever, I don't know. I never really talked to him about it in that respect. But then he pulled out Windex and then sprayed that on top of the chemicals, the foaming spray bath cleaner. And the bleach and the Windex, a lot of it contains ammonia, and the two chemicals together make a product called chloramine, which will shut your lungs down. And that's what happened. My brother's like 240. He's like 6'4", 240, somewhere in there. And he went clunk, and he was shutting down. And thank goodness my sister-in-law was home, because she's like, honey, what was that? And there was no response, and she went looking for him. She walked into the bathroom and was like, and I don't know how she did this, because she's like 5'0", and dragged him out into the hallway and closed the door, which saved his life. So I'm a big proponent about the chemicals and the toxins and what we're doing to our environment. And you have to be careful, and you have to exercise. So those are the three facets of the trifecta. You have to change what goes in, the food and drink, what goes on, the toxins and the environmental chemicals you're being exposed to, and then you have to exercise. So yeah, we do.
Great. You kind of lost me there for a minute, but I actually did the same thing your brother did. It was quite dangerous for me too. My lungs were seizing up. I forgot that I had put scrubbing bubbles in the shower, and I was doing Windex on the shower door, and I had to leave the house. I closed the door, open up the window, and let the bathroom air out for hours and hours and hours. It was so bad in there. My lungs were fried. It was very dangerous. That's very scary. I want to talk about Tori. Hi, Tori. Tori and I go way back. We were equestrians together and went to school together. And so I love you, Tori. But what Tori's saying about fast food, and we were talking about fast food, and Kathy Cross says mobility isn't always about being lazy. You're both right. Absolutely. So people that have mobility issues, they definitely will have issues with getting out and exercising. And then there's people that don't cook because they, for whatever reason, everybody's lazy. I get a lazy streak every now and then and find myself that, well, I don't know if I want to get into my home wellness center it's 104 in Chico today. And it's like, I'm looking at my kitchen going, I don't know if I want to get in there and cook. Am I lazy? No, I'm just making a choice. I don't really want to go in there and cook. But fast food is really, truly a shortcut. It is a shortcut and a convenience. Hence, that's why it was always called convenience food. And therefore, us Americans have gotten into the habit of depending on and relying on fast food, convenient foods. And then it's kind of like you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're getting into this habit. Your brain gets so dependent on the highly palatable salt, sugar, and fat that it actually becomes an addiction. So now you're physiologically chemically dependent on the salt, sugar, and fat. And you're going back over and over to what I call the crack house. You're going back to Taco Bell, you're going back to Burger King, you're going back to Jack in the Box, and I'm calling those the crack house. Those are your drug dealers. So you're going back there to get your quote unquote fix. And it's really not so much as being lazy, it's the fact that they have got you hooked. You're like they got a customer. You're the customer, and they've got you hook, line, and sinker. And it isn't until you cut that cord. And exactly, that's exactly right. Kathy's asking about, have you read Fast Food Genocide yet? Yes, Kathy, I've actually read it twice. It's phenomenal. Until you can break that dependency on fast food, you're going to struggle with your weight and your health goals and your weight loss goals, because they put so much salt, so much sugar, and so much fat into fast food, and your brain gets addicted to that dopamine hit. And then it is just so hard for people to get successful because they fall back into that convenience of the drive-through. It just makes it so much handier. And so we become lazy. And therefore we're lazy, we're overweight, we don't feel good, we don't have the energy, and then we just take the easy way out. I'm speaking from personal experience. Okay. I'm not shooting or, I'm not judging other people. This is my personal experience with fast food, because I became overweight. I became addicted to them. I became addicted to all of that. Diet Coke, I'd get the big, large, gulpy, whatever Diet Coke. And I thought, I'm going to do so good. I'm going to have this Diet Coke. So, sure, supersize those French fries. And sure, I'll have the double, the cheeseburger double thing at whatever it was called at Burger King. And that's how they suck you in. They suck you in, and then they have a customer. And then by default, you become quote unquote lazy because you're flat out unhealthy. You're overweight and you're unhealthy. And then it's like you're on the merry-go-round, you can't get off, and it's hard to get off of that. And so you break that, you start cooking at home, and back to what Tori said, you cook at home and you exercise. And the more you cook at home, the healthier you get. And the more healthier you get, the more exercise you'll feel like doing. So that's the win-win of the journey. But, for those of you who are watching that aren't plant-based yet, do yourself a favor and just really start cutting the cord from fast food, because Dr. Furman's book says it is going to be the death of all of us. I mean, it really, truly is. They want your money, and they are not concerned about your cholesterol level. They are not concerned about feeding cancer. They're not concerned about sugar levels. They want your money, their big business, their corporate America.
Well, and it's everywhere. I mean, we had Kathy on last week, and she talked about how between her house and home, she had nine in her path. And she would go by every time. And it was like, to break that, and I still see, like, my husband and I were traveling when we were going to the conference in Cleveland. We drove, and we started getting up into the Midwest, the Ohio area, and there's a restaurant that's there in the South and Midwest. It's called Bob Evans. And I used to love going to Bob Evans. And I saw the sign and went, oh, Bob Evans. And then I went, oh, no, can't go there anymore. That's off the table. And,
right.
There's really, because especially for me with salt, oh my gosh. I just can't. I mean, the salt, the amount of salt that's in food, I'm so salt sensitive. It's ridiculous how salt sensitive I am. I mean, I can't have anything at all. And, but I saw the sign and went, oh, I remember Bob Evans, and it was a happy place because I loved going there because of the food addiction. So, we need to.
Yep. It's your brain. It's memory. And if you watch, I really like to always refer people to Doug Lyle's Cram Circuit YouTube presentation, and that's the memory. Does your memory the dopamine going to remember when you have, like I said, in our Starch Queens program, I was using an example. Have you ever craved a juicy chicken liver? Ooh, no, probably not. But have you craved a big old hot fudge sundae? Sure. because you increased your dopamine. So your memory, your brain is going to always store that memory, but it's like you have to retrain and build your muscle, your psychological muscle, and you're going to say no to those memories. And it takes work. It takes a lot of work to get to where we are in our journey. And like, I don't look at those foods. I see them as frankenfoods. I call them frankenfoods. They're disease promoting foods, and they're just not going to do you any good. And it's a journey. It takes time. The more you dedicate to getting healthy, the bigger in return on your investment you're going to get in regards to getting healthy.
Well, there's a couple things, I love going to Wendy's, and because they have huge baked potatoes, and I can get a salad, and I put the chicken on the side for the dog. The dog is happy. So I get the chicken, the salads, and it usually comes with chicken, so I just have them put it on the side. And they have some salads there that I get, and, if we're on the road, it's not something that I do all the time, but it's an option there if you have to eat out, because it's really difficult for me to eat out. I mean, usually we carry our food with us at all times. Unless we're going to a conference like the National Health Association. Oh my God, the food was amazing. It really, really was. There's a lot of pictures on the National Health Association, on their page, their Facebook page. Tons of pictures of the food, because that's what stole the show. In spite of the presenters, which were amazing, the food stole the show. I mean, it was really, really good. It was the first time that the chef had ever cooked plant-based. So it was excellent. He did the staff there just was phenomenal.
Good. So when I go to Wendy's, I don't order chicken.
No, but they have. I mean, the salads come with chicken. And
yeah, but I want on that note, I did want to say they have salads that don't contain chicken, because I don't want chicken anywhere near my food at all. Yeah. But for me, I don't order the chicken because I don't want my dollars going towards anything that's animal. I don't want to support anything animal based. So I just want to clarify, Jean does that for her dog, but I don't. I'll get a baked potato at Wendy's when we're traveling, but it's always best to have a nice cooler full of your prepared food when you travel, because we love the potato hour. And I just don't personally, my personal choice is to not support the meat and dairy industry with my dollar. So
Fair point.
But you can get plant-based food from restaurants. They're not all demonized. They do have, Wendy's has the burger, not the burger, but the potatoes. But you do have to tell them you want it to be a plain potato. Plain potato. Yes. That's where you got to go with that. So anyway, on that note, let's see. Do we have any? Kathy Cross says she likes the Asian salad at Wendy's. I haven't tried that one yet. Let's see. And Laura Wing. Laura is part of our Starch Beans program. And Laura says, get an Instant Pot. It's life-changing. It truly is. The Instant Pot is life-changing. And right now it's Prime Day with Amazon, and it's $40 or 40% off. I believe it's 40% off. So wow. Instant Pot, 6-quart. Invest in it. It is a game changer. We use ours all the time. I've got 3 Instant Pots, the 8-quart, the 6-quart, the 3-quart, and then I have a 12-quart duo stove pot. And when we're batch cooking, I'll actually have all 4 going at once, and an air fryer. So it's like this whole, home wellness center, because batch cooking is where it's at. And back to what Tori was saying about being lazy, is if you prepare and do your batch cooking on the weekends, and you have food at home that's in your freezer, in your refrigerator, you're less likely to want to or need to go support fast food restaurants.
Right. Failure to plan is a plan for failure. You're setting yourself up for failing.
Exactly.
So, we always talk and preach about batch cooking, especially because we both work on, during the week. And it just makes life so much easier when you can go in. I've always got some kind of grain. My favorite grain is kamut grain, Kamut. What's your favorite grain?
Me?
Yeah.
Boy. I can't say that I have a preference. I got my staples. My staples are basmati long grain basmati rice, brown long grain rice, short grain rice, all organic. I love I love wild rice. I like quinoa. I'm really liking oat groats. So I bought some of the what'd you call it? The kamut?
Grain.
I bought it, haven't tried it yet, but I'm a creature of habit. Nick and I, we just are like, fuddy-duddies. We just kind of stick to rice and potatoes, and some quinoa is really exciting for us. So, but we thought oat groats would be exciting, so we'll put some of those on our steel cut oats. We love oats. So we keep it simple. We don't have to go out and get it all exciting and exotic. But for me, it's rice is probably the most consumed grain in our household.
Keeping it simple is amazing, and just having those grains to cook already pre-cooked, and then getting into the potatoes. Especially, I just take a whole instant pot of potatoes. I fill it up to the top. I steam it. I put it on manual, high steam, high pressure for like 1 minute if it's like a medium size, 2 minutes if it's bigger potato. And then I'll put them out on a cooling rack, let them sit out and cool down, and then stand them up and put them into a dish, no lid, nothing, and just put them in the fridge. And that way we get resistant starch. So the starch amount, the amount of calories actually is like cut in half. And then I'll take those out, and then I'll eat them like a potato, just like an apple. I'll do that. But I like my potatoes hot. So like I'll use my mini Hot Logic, and I have a glass dish that I'll slice the potatoes up, and then I'll put my sriracha sauce. I keep that at school, and I'll put some of my sriracha sauce on that, and I'll put it in the mini Hot Logic, sometime after lunch. And when the potato hour hits, then I've got my potato ready, and that'll take me through dinner time and keep me satiated and yum. And it allows me to bypass all of those things, like Kathy was the gauntlet, that you're driving past on the way home, and you see like 25 places that, have fast food, and you're like, I like that. I like that. I like that. Not anymore. Yeah.
So why don't we talk about real quick? I do want to answer Fran's question real quick. Fran's asking, what's your favorite Instant Pot recipe? I'll go first. So for me, Fran, I love a recipe that Nick created called Heritage Bean Soup. You can find the recipe in Plant-Based Chico group under the files. It's a delicious Instant Pot soup. But we've also got several really good Instant Pot soup recipes in our Starch Queens recipe guide. If you have that, check out the recipes that we have in our recipe guide. They're amazing. Then the other recipe that we have that Nick makes in the Instant Pot is a combination between Chef AJ's red lentil chili, and we add other types of lentils in it. We add some potatoes in it, and we beef it up with more veggies. And I have to look and see what that, it's also, I believe, in the Plant-Based Chico recipe files. But Jean, why don't you refresh my memory? What is our soup called in our Starch Queens program? Is it the Queen of the Nile? No.
We've got several different soups.
We've got several good ones that are really good for the Instant Pot. They're
absolutely
really good.
Yeah, no. And the Starch Queen stew, that's a fabulous recipe. It's so easy. So easy. You just cut up stuff and put, sweet potatoes, all this stuff. You put it in the Instant Pot and cook, and it's delicious. And my husband approved. He actually loved that, and he actually asks for that even more so than the Mexican lasagna. Still is his favorite, no question about it. But he likes the Starch Queen stew. I think my favorite cooking in the Instant Pot is my beans. I have become really, really addicted to cranberry beans. And they're called cranberry beans because they look like they have like red veins going through them, almost like a cranberry color. So I think that's where they got the name from. It's not that they're related to cranberries or anything, but
they are. They're pretty.
Oh my gosh.
How do you cook them, Jean? I have ruined 2 batches of cranberry beans. I am doing it wrong. What is the trick?
Well, first of all, I soak them overnight so that they get.
I did too.
Okay. So then I put them into the Instant Pot, and I put about an inch of water, on top of the beans after they've soaked. And then I just hit the bean button. That's it. So
really?
That's it.
You don't do manual and a certain number of minutes?
Nope. I
So
just
you
hit the
do
bean button.
pre-soaked and you hit bean button. Do you know how many minutes that is off the top of your head?
I want to say 14, but don't quote me.
I did manual high pressure for, oh, maybe that's what it was. I pre-soaked them and I did 22 minutes and they turned out really mushy. They were like
So,
really bad.
well, they're a softer bean. It's not like the black bean, which really takes a lot to cook those mothers. You know, those
Yeah.
just really, you have to soak those. And if you don't soak them, even cooking them with heat really doesn't need, you have to soak those.
Oh
The
yeah.
black beans definitely require a lot of cooking. But the cranberry beans, I love these because they make almost like a cream sauce with it. And what I do when I get the Instant Pot done and I let it cool, and release the pressure manually, then I'll ladle out like one big scoop of the beans and the liquid, and I'll put it in the blender. Then I'll add my spices. I'll add cumin. I'll add onion powder, garlic powder, and then bear. That's my absolute favorite.
So good.
It is so amazing. So I'll add the bear to it, and then I'll put it in the blender, blend it, and it makes a cream, like a sauce. Then
Right.
I'll add it back to my beans and stir it around, and it's awesome. Just awesome.
Excellent.
It makes it almost like a refried bean kind of creamy, creaminess. So
Oh yeah. No, and I see you post what's in your cooler when you're going to school and I see your cranberry beans. I'm like, dang it, she's got that figured out. And I've got to figure out what the trick is. I didn't use the bean button on my Instant Pot. I just did the manual and the time was too long. And so therefore I just made mush. I made cranberry mush and I was so disappointed.
That's when you put it in the blender and you've got, you've got soup.
Cranberry smoothie.
You got soup. You just got, or
Yeah,
you can make
soup.
you can thicken it up. You can add a little bit. If it gets too thin, you can add, either add some more beans, a different kind of bean, and to thicken it, like a white bean to thicken it up, and make almost like a hummus kind of thing. A dip.
Oh yeah. What's really good is I really love to make black bean hummus and I pick it up. I mean, it's so good. People don't realize that you can literally just take a can of black beans like you do with garbanzo beans. And it's one of the recipes that Dr. Furman has in his Eat to Live book. But then I've modified it. I take the can of black beans, I put it in my Vitamix, and then I put in onion powder, garlic powder. And the trick is I put in I don't have the Viracha, but I have Sriracha, the Organicville one. I don't know what the sodium is in that one, but you literally use like 3 drops, but that might even be too much for you, Jean, for sodium wise. And then I put it in the blender and I make this beautiful black bean hummus and it is so good. It's just a little bit different texture than the garbanzo beans, but it's super good to use as in lettuce and on sandwiches. If you needed to have a sandwich or going like Nick and I went hiking and we made tomato onion sandwiches for our hike. And we just used, what did we use? We used mustard, but the black bean hummus would have been delicious and it would have added protein. And we're, like you say, you start, incorporating all these places in your diet throughout the course of a week, you get lots of protein. And that's black bean hummus, garbanzo bean hummus. That's a great source of really clean plant-based protein.
Right. Well, Laura Wing commented, she said 7 to 10 minutes for cranberry beans and vegan under pressure. Love those cooking charts. So
yeah,
I just pushed the button. I just pushed the button. Beans. Done.
Yeah, that works. Awesome. I'm going to do that. And Triva was saying, what do you season with? So want to go through real quick and say what you season your cranberry beans with again? You said garlic.
I use garlic powder, onion powder. I use cumin for sure. And then whatever I feel like, sometimes like I love Indian spices. And like there's the tandoori, there's a great tandoori mix that's at Whole Foods. So they've got a lot of blended spices that are just absolutely phenomenal. And, I might add some red pepper or some chili powder, whatever I'm in the mood for. But my absolute go-to is bear without question. And I love the cumin as well. It just gives it a really earthy, like, because I spent like 13 years in Latin America. So
Oh, I could eat cumin, anything with cumin all day long.
Right, right.
I'm telling you, I am south of the border at heart, food connoisseur. I love anything Tex-Mex, Southwest, Mexican, South American, Brazilian, yum. I love those spicy, earthy flavors are so good and
Right.
highly recommended to. That's one of the things that Jean talks about is her collection of spices. I've only seen a small portion of it at the home in Cape Cod, and it was very impressive. So really to flavor
That's
up
only
your
what I
plant-based
travel with.
lifestyle. I know, yeah. So flavor up your home wellness center with a lot of spices. And that's what Nick and I did before we were plant-based, we were thinking, how could we do this? We don't own any spices. I still had some of those old, what were those red and white cans, Jean? What were those called? I think I had a pumpkin pie spice from McCormick from 1984. You know, it's like, wow, we don't use spices. We just eat fast food. So we literally threw everything away. And in over 6 years, we've also compiled a very impressive spice collection. And it really has made such a difference in everything that we cook. And
well, especially because I can't use salt. You know,
right. And nor can Nick. Nick is very sodium sensitive too with his vertigo thing. So he doesn't have it. And so because of his issue, it rolls over onto me. So by default in our home, I just don't eat we don't eat packaged food for one. So that eliminates 90% of the problem. And then we just, whatever sodium we get comes from Mother Nature.
Right. Right.
All right. Do we have any more questions from anybody or shall we get to wrapping it up?
I think we could wrap it up tonight.
Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight and for Jean for joining us from Cape Cod.
Yay.
Yay.
Love it.
Awesome.
I'm loving it.
Very awesome. Love it.
I can't wait. And if anybody is in the neighborhood, Snow Library in Orleans, I'll be presenting there tomorrow and next Wednesday. So,
what's your topic for tomorrow night, Jean?
What is whole food plant-based living?
Good.
And then the following week is how to begin. So
very good. Excellent. Well, I hope that you have a good sizable turnout. That would be fantastic. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you're interested in learning more about the Starch Queens program, you can go to sqweightloss.com. And then our other website, starchqueens.net, is where you can find a lot of information on how to adopt a whole food plant-based lifestyle, recipe, cooking videos, more about our plant-based towns. We want to welcome plant-based Bremer, Oregon. Cindy has joined us as plant-based Gresham, Oregon. So we have a new plant-based town that's joined our network of plant-based towns. So we want to welcome Cindy. So we're excited to continue to help people spread the word on plant-based living. So,
all right.
Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, everybody.
Good night, John Boy. Now it's...
Oh, wait. Time out. Next week. What? No, next week. Dr. David Doneyev again, right?
Yes, he is going to be on. We haven't got a topic yet, so I'm waiting to hear from him what his topic is going to be. So yes, Dr. David Doneyev is going to be joining us. He's got Medical Compass MD, and he's from Brooklyn, and he helped Eric Adams to reverse his diabetes, and his mother as well. So if you haven't seen those, I've done interviews with both of these people, Eric Adams and Dr. David Doneyev. They're on the YouTube channel. You can check those out. But he'll be with us next week. So
excellent.
Looking forward to that.
He's always fun. Dr. Doneyev's a character. He's a lot of fun. All right, again, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. If you find it in your heart, we would love to have you share this broadcast onto your page so that we might be able to help other people adopt a whole food plant-based lifestyle and maybe join one of our plant-based towns. So we'll post the recipes to those bean burgers after we've saved and got the this live feed on our Facebook page, and we'll put those recipes for the bean burgers down below. And we again thank you very much. And Treva says, "Good night, Mary Ellen."
No, come on. You gotta start with "Good night, John Boy."
Good night, Mary Ellen.
There we go. All right.
I always want to say good night, Grandpa. Wasn't it Grandpa? I love Grandpa. All right, everybody. Have a plant-based, fantastic week. We'll see you next Tuesday.